Welcome back. Today we have just received, in the last 5 minutes, some brand new information on Call of Duty Warzone 2 DMZ Season 3 overview, as it says here. So I'm going to quickly run through some of these things that we've seen here, some more detailed information on some of the changes coming up. So let me just run by this with everyone just now. So obviously it's just mentioned, you know, what DMZ is about at the start. It's nothing really super interesting. It's mentioned that there were 4 factions already, and yeah, it's just mentioned the setup for DMZ if you didn't know what it's about, right? So the first thing we're going to chat about is the barter station. So obviously we have the buy stations on the map already where we can buy items. Items do change depending on which buy station you go to and stuff, so it seems to be the same idea. So the most important thing to mention here, across every exclusion zone, all buy stations will have a new option in addition to buying gear and weapons for cash: bartering. This is where you would use recipes. These give instructions to your operator, including a component list, in order to build new equipment that can be more useful for your current situation. In other words, bartering is where you exchange items for others. At the start of Season 3, some bartering recipes will be available for most of the new plate carriers and backpacks, kill streaks, self-revives and keys. However, each exclusion zone has its own set of barter options across its buy stations, adding one or more additional element to fully exploring everything in DMZ. There are dozens of item trade combinations that will launch with Season 3, meaning anyone can memorize these recipes, share them with squad mates, and search for specific items to load up on loot. Given these recipes range from operating items like bomb drones and self-revive kits to other important keys and items, the barter system is ready to help operators stuck with those harder to find items and reward them for their scavenging efforts. Okay, so most important thing here is the recipes. So there's going to be a set of items you'll need to take to get the item you want. Now obviously I'm going to guess as well that the item you want is not necessarily going to be in the station that you're at. You may have to try different stations to find the item you're after. So let's say you're after a certain key, like a slightly difficult to get key, like, I don't know, crane key, for example, or something. Maybe you'll be able to buy the crane key, but you need maybe 2 self-revives, a backpack, and a couple of other items to get that, perhaps. So I like the idea of this. I think the recipe idea makes sense. I think obviously a bunch of recipes you'll just be able to remember on top of your head. But eventually there'll be a list of recipes we can use. Excuse me. Obviously, the important thing to mention here would be that the new plates and carriers and backpacks, which we'll get to in a minute, the fact you can get them from the barter stations, there's going to be recipes for those. So I think pretty quickly people are going to learn the recipes for the new plate carriers and backpacks, and soon have the right objects stored, you know. Right, let's move on to the next section, the contraband workbench. Now, we've kind of covered this before. So for a nominal cash fee, the workbench allows an operator to add attachments they have unlocked for any weapon platform onto a piece of contraband or insured weapon. Operators can also remove them piece by piece. Most workbenches provide the attachment swapping service, but for a price, given how much a weapon's strengths and weaknesses can change upon the attachment it has, what it has or what has removed. The obvious example is attach what you believe is the most advantaged attachments in contraband weapons. As this is the most time such weapon won't have all the 5 attachments you seek. So a good example, I was talking about this yesterday. If you pick up a bot RPK, slap a grip on and a sight on it, bang, you've got a level 4 weapon, which is not too bad actually, you know. So yeah, so basically I think it's really good. It's pretty straightforward. You found a gun that's got 3 attachments you like, or maybe it's got 4 attachments, but you want rid of the scope. You can jump in there, remove the scope, chuck the scope you want on, and bang, your gun's a lot better. It really just comes down to how much it costs to do this. You know, it's all about cash for this one. So it depends what the prices are, you know. It's hard to call on that one. I think it's useful, but I think a lot of people with 3 weapon slots are going to go into the game with, you know, they're going to go in with 3 weapon slots. So you're going to go in every raid with a decent gun, with a 5-tier attachment. So you're probably not going to go into a raid very often with nothing, or like a crap bot gun, you know. You just aren't going to be doing that if you've got 3 insured slots unlocked, that is, you know. So we'll see how useful that is. I think it may be more useful than we think. Okay, the next one. This is a huge change. Active duty operator slots. So when the this is one of the biggest changes that we're going to get here. So you can see here in this image, you've got your active duty slot 1, 2, 3. So you can see this guy here. He's got his the new Atom skin, which I'm going to be picking up for sure. And you can see he's got, you know, you can carry with him his backpack, vest, gas mask, all the obvious stuff that you'd always want to carry. You know, and I guess this is going to show you what level of thingy you're at, you know? So I think, but the most important thing that's mentioned here is these are going to be different characters. So if you go in with this guy and you bring out, say, something you need for a mission, it's not going to come out for this guy. This guy does not have access to that mission item. You're going to have to take this guy back in again. Sorry, I keep bumping up the thing. You have to take the second guy back in to do that mission because he's the guy that found that item. He's really interesting. So let's run through this quickly. At start of Season 3, every player will have 3 active duty operator slots, which equates to 3 separate operators that they have their own soldier items, separate items. These items include your backpack, plate carrier, kill streak, self-revive, and gas mask. You're free to swap around who these operators are in your active slots. So if you have a default operator skin for a while, pick up Alejandro or Valeria in the battle pass, you can change the character's skin without messing up your progress. Before launching a match, you choose which operator you're going to bring into the exclusion zone. Whatever they bring back, that is not part of their global loadout. Primary weapon, secondary weapon, lethal, tactical, and field upgrade is only for that specific active duty operator. So basically, your guns, your secondary weapons, lethal, tactical, and field, all that stuff's going to only come back for that operator that you've taken into the thing, not for this guy, not for that guy. You won't have access to it. You will have access to the guns though. But mission items you won't, okay? As usual, these are worded not super nicely, you know? As it says here, whatever they bring back that is not part of the global loadout, primary weapon, secondary weapon, lethal, tactical, and field upgrade is only for that specific active duty operator. That means contraband weapons are shared between active duty operators, but not keys, for example. So if I find a key with this guy, and then I want to take this guy in the next raid, I want to have the access to the key on that guy. He'll have his own stash. So it's like almost like a separate stash for each character, you know, it's quite cool. I don't know, I don't really quite get this, but I'm sure it'll make it be more obvious soon. As we suggested in our announcement blog, active duty operator slots allow for strategies around designed operators for specific missions or supply runs. Another way to think about that is active duty operators are like lives in DMZ. But again, remember the core part of taking calculations is part of DMZ. Each operator life is separate and can easily go back to bare bones. So although you've got this guy and you've unlocked a bunch of items for the second character in your thing, a bunch of, say, mission items, you're not going to lose those mission items. He's going to end up back to a guy with no plates. So the real trick here is each of these characters is going to have a completely separate mission inventory. That's kind of what they're saying, okay? In other words, using just one main operator, like in DMZ prior to this update, they limit you to strategies like building up on every operator at full strength on scavenging runs, then using them all if necessary to knock out difficult missions. So basically, you can have 3 guys with 3 plates, large backpack, all ready to go. And then you can go in and try a really hard mission with your fully kitted out guy in slot 1. And then you fail. You go straight to your slot 2 guy who's fully kitted out as well. There's no more loot up times. You can go straight in, bang, you're back into the game with a fully kitted out guy. And bang, he dies. 3rd guy, fully kitted out, you take him in. So the loot up stage that we all have to do at the moment in between each operator thing is going to go away to a point, you know? We're not going to do the loot up stage so much. We can either choose to take our character straight back in and try and carry on with the mission we're doing, or we can loot the guy up that just died, the same as we do at the moment. But from now on, the major take from this is that you're going to be able to go in straight away with full kit, which is huge, okay? Right, so next thing, we've got the new backpacks, new equipment basically. So we have new backpacks, Secure and Scavenger. Okay, so Secure backpacks, as the name suggests, secure items between runs. This means that non-contraband, non-on-soldier items are secured in your inventory and don't convert to XP or extraction. So if you've got mission items and so on, it sounds like they're going to come out, which means we've got a stash now for mission items. So I think if we want to bring a water bottle out and a bandage out, maybe, it sounds like maybe we can do that. I think. It's hard to say. It might only mean the mission items like the folders and documents, maybe, but we'll see, okay. Plus, items in a secure backpack are kept to the activity soldier if they are limited in extraction zones. So whoever your active duty soldier has, if he has this backpack full of mission items that can't be lost, only that character has access to them still, okay. So we kind of know that though. Right, so for the secure backpack, even if you lose one important mission item, it will still be there. It will still be there with a secure backpack. Remember that, and it's also available as a barter recipe for you to buy as well. So that recipe to get this backpack, the recipe you need for the barter thing is going to be something we need to learn fast, you know. So, and also as for the scavenger backpack, the giant box-looking thing here, these take out your third weapon slot, usually found in medium or large backpacks, and add additional item slots. So instead of having your third gun slot, you're going to have a bunch of like 5 slots for a bunch of other items you need. So I don't know quite how many items you need to carry out the mission, but anyway, it's okay. Now here's the huge change. This is a huge change. So we've got new tempered, revive, comms, and stealth. Now stealth, you can see here, it's got this orange thing on the thing. The medic one's pretty obvious, but it's quite loud. The blue one, well, it just looks cool. And this one, the most subtle one, is actually probably the most useful. So, you may already be familiar with tempered plate carriers from previous Call of Duty Warzone, but in case you need to reassess the intel, we wrote about these in our tactical overview. As for the other DMZ exclusive plate carriers, here's a quick overview. So, a 3-plate medic vest grants both faster revives on squad mates as well as faster self-revives when using a self-revive kit. Now, not with a pen though, it's just a sound. So we have self-revive kit, so I'm guessing with the self-revive pen it's going to be the same speed as before. All around a helpful vest, but especially great for those who find themselves as a squad's medic. So that's actually giving people roles now, so that's actually quite huge. A 3-plate comms vest is like a signal booster and has a few benefits. It increases the duration of all UAV technology, the kill streak, UAV towers, and enemy radios dropped by AI. Makes them function as advanced UAVs, meaning they also show player direction and location. As another bonus, the vest also gives you an audio cue when an enemy operator is close to you, like an auditory version of the high alert perk. Zen was just talking about that to me last night, wondering if that would ever come back in the game. Bang, here it is. It would be great for a solo runner especially, given that they could level the communication advantage that having a duo or trio provides. So basically, you can see for longer people that are inside UAV. I think it helps you see for longer with UAVs than normal people. So when you see a UAV going out in a normal area, this vest is going to allow you to have an extra 10 seconds or something, whatever, you know. Now the last one is going to almost be definitely the one you're going to use if you're going to want to be solo. So finally the stealth plate carrier comes built in with the ghost perk, keeping you off enemy radars, built for those times when keeping a low profile is essential to the mission. That is insane. It comes with Ghost. Now Ghost obviously is usually level 10 for the extraction perks. Usually it's the last one you'll get. So to get that just in a vest is actually crazy. Built for the times when keeping a low profile is essential, but that's great for solo players. That's huge. In fact, both of these are pretty good for solo players. Either the medic one's good to revive you faster, or the stealth one. So that's actually huge, you know. And also it says here, be on the lookout for armor satchels coming back during the season. So I've seen that before in the older games. This is a fun one. So a brand new field upgrade you may crawl first seen in a raid episode. The Rebreather is built for amphibious operators who navigate around the various waterways in Almanzra and Ashika Island. This tool allows operators to breathe underwater for longer periods of time, perfect for stealth infiltrations or tricky maneuvers where air is limited. Like a stim pistol. It has multiple uses before it expires, and it can even be swung as a two-handed melee tool as a pinch. So this is actually pretty cool, because if you're going to do like some kind of... I mean, I think it's probably more useful for getting away. The amount of times I jump in water to get away from like 3 teams and stuff, this could be pretty useful. I think it'll be helpful. I don't think it's I don't think it's a huge thing to the game, but I think it'll be fun. Now this is insane. Skeleton key. This is huge. This is a massive change. So those familiar with a phase known as a skeleton key can lock nearly any door in DMZ. The only exception is getting into the Building 21 access itself. Although you cannot earn a Building 21, deployment, you can open every door inside Building 21 with this special key. It just opens them all. These keys can only be created through a special barter system recipe. So that recipe is going to be huge. As soon as anyone works out what the barter system recipe is for the skeleton key, it's going to be huge. But I expect it'll be quite a lot of stuff you'll need to use to get that. I reckon it'll be like a bunch of self revives and, you know, a bunch of expensive items, you know, to be able to get your hands on this. Because every item can matter in DMZ and bartering means losing items to make others, it may be best to save it for those incredibly tough to find keys, or use it as a backup for those missions that require a specific key. So this is huge. You get to a point in the missions, you've got a key you need and you can't do anything about it. How many times have we found ourselves in that situation, you know? Happens all the time, you know? We find ourselves, we've got a mission we need to do, there's no key available, we end up hunting for the key for HVTs for hours and we'll often not get them. Right, cool. So missions. This is one quite interesting information here. Season 3 of DMZ will not reset your mission progress. So wherever you are right now in your mission progress on the current season, it's going to be sitting right there, which is kind of interesting. It means I can just grind the last few missions, I guess, but Same time also means there's less to do. But you know, we've got a new faction, Redacted at the moment, available to all players. Apparently it's available to all players, not people Modern Warfare. I think that's what they're trying to say. And we'll have 3 of its 5 tiers available at launch, so that's cool. Something to get straight into. One more thing about DMZ activities. Remember, the missions are not only a thing to accomplish in DMZ. The new bosses, as well as something completely redacted happening in mid-season, are sure to give even more challenging rewards to all operators. Alright, next thing. We have got the supply run contract. So most operators who play Battle Royale know the details about supply runs, but now these contracts are coming to DMZ and are similar in name only. A supply run is a great contract for gearing up when your active duty operator is brand new. Think of it as a lower stakes safecracker. Instead of iron safes, all your operator needs to do is find wooden crates. All items there are free for the taking. So it's going to be a loot up, but I guess that might end up people camping those. Maybe if you can... It depends whether the supply run boxes are on the map straight away, or whether they're not visible, or whether you've got to get a mission to get them or not. So it's a contract, so I guess you have to host a mission, but it comes down to whether you take the mission. Does everyone else see the item? Because if everyone else sees the item on the map, then obviously you get camped. But I don't know. And this is actually pretty huge, but quite interesting. So, new vehicle, new exfil option. The heavy chopper is back. There'll be a new way to privately exfiltrate an exclusion zone DMZ in Season 3, both of which can help you exfiltrate safely. First, the heavy chopper. Seen in ground war and invasion within Modern Warfare 2, it will add to the aerial vehicle lineup. Unfortunately for you, it's completely drained of its fuel. So operators must find its special fuel around the airport in order to get it into the sky. Once topped off with its fuel, the heavy chopper can fly around the map and even outside the boundaries, which is how you can exfiltrate any time for free. So after getting out of bounds, a countdown will appear just like a normal exfiltration until you ultimately are given the same treatment as a successful exfil. Now that is kind of crazy, right? Obviously it's a bit of effort to get your hands on the chopper in the first place. Because it uses special fuel, you can't, I'm guessing, just go and keep getting fuel for it all around the map, is my guess. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe you can get fuel at the gas stations, maybe you can't. The fact it uses special fuel says to me that once it's fueled up and you've got the helicopter, you're going to have a limited amount of time to use it, perhaps, maybe. Being able to just drive off the map, though, and leave anytime you want is kind of crazy. So if you're going to start seeing people flying around in the large helicopters, it's an interesting one. I quite like the idea of that. It seems a little bit laborious to get your hands on one, but we'll see how it works. The other new feature here is a new buy station item known as a private exfil. Once bought, an exfil will be available on an unused exfil point for that match only on the map. So it says this, so once bought, an exfil will be available on an unused exfil point. Now that means it's still going to be at one of the exfil points on the map. Or not unused as in one that didn't spawn, perhaps. I'm guessing that's what it probably means, isn't it? Yeah. So basically an exfil point that isn't actually been chosen by the game that round. So it'll be a completely separate one. Excuse me. So that seems pretty good. I like the idea of that. Consider an extra escape route if needed, especially during prisoner rescue contracts. Okay, wicked. So that's the information there. There's a couple of things from yesterday's stuff I wanted to go over very quickly as well, though. Give me 1 second here. Where are we now? Here we are. So I wanted to quickly go down some of the DMZ stuff we had here, because there's a couple of little interesting things from yesterday on this. Sorry guys, just trying to find this last bit here that I was looking at. Oh, this is just oh, this is an old thing. That's an old thing. Oh, here's, I found this one I'm looking for. So there's a couple of things in here I wanted to go over very quickly. So you've all seen this already. This is just sort of the first sort of iteration of what we were getting, but obviously we're now going into more detail on this now. Let me just quickly get down to DMZ here. Give me a couple of seconds. DMZ overall. Here we are, found it right. So there's something here I wanted to chat about very quickly. What was that again? It does say new and remixed missions. So new and remixed missions. I'm guessing that means that if we're not getting our missions reset, how are we going to remix them? It must mean there's just some brand new missions and some older missions that are putting into this new faction, is what they're saying. The new bosses, this is what I want to talk about very quickly. So, operators should prepare for face new threats across various exclusion zones, as there are not one but 2 bosses that intel suggests are redacted. Intel suggests deep underground in Mel Mazrah, there is another boss. So that means to me, it's not very clear again I think the new bosses sound like there's going to be one in some new underground area in El Mazrah, because, you know, where's deep underground in El Mazrah right now? There's only really that new sort of smuggler's tunnel, which is not very big, is it? So hopefully it'll be a new area, a deep underground area. Hopefully that'll be part of it, you know. And I think is that the last thing I want to talk about? I think that might be the last thing I want to talk about today. Alright guys, so I'm pretty hyped for Season 3. It's going to be out Wednesday evening. I'll be streaming live on Twitch as always when it comes out. I'll probably be on about an hour before it comes out, the patch, etc. I'll be there, so I hope you guys can come along and join me for the day. Looking forward to this new the new backpacks and a whole bunch of new bits and pieces here. So great changes. Much appreciated everyone hanging out and listening to me chat. I will catch you all on the stream again very soon. Check me out on Twitch. See you soon, guys.